We just gotta wait for YouTube to finish going live. Activate. I might reactivate Kick at some point because why the fuck not at this point? But I really hate Kick. It's such a shitty platform. I'm not even gonna lie. Okie dokie. I was chilling in my buddy's stream for a bit. And we're gonna put some pretzel rocks on here. I think we're gonna try for some lo-fi. I think lo-fi or chill EDM is probably most likely what we want here. Upbeat dance, eh? I don't even know. Pop, industrial, classic rock, chill. I don't even know. Funk, funk it up. Let's go for some lo-fi. Bring this back down to like 2%. Is my audio muted? No. Okay, no, it's not. Okay. Handle seamless travel. Ugh. This one here is actually overridable, though, isn't it? I feel like it is in blueprints. Initialize the game. Oh, interesting. Called when a controller with a player state leaves the game or is destroyed. Well, after a successful login. So these are the game mode base overrides. What are these ones? These ones are these are the ones that are specific to the game mode. Transition from waiting to start to in progress. Yeah. This one's blueprint callable. Does that mean that it can be overwritten in blueprints? I'm kind of curious here. In its start spot. Oh yeah. Look, it's not here. That's right. Some of this isn't here. Ready to end match, ready to start match. Handle starting new player. Get default pawn class from controller. Find player start. This one's an interesting one. Choose player start. Returns a specific player start actor. Can spectate. I'm curious as to like what dictates can spectate. There's the async physics deck. Oh. And the actor is clicked by the mouse when using the clickable interface. Interesting. There's really a lack of like functionality in here. I never realized how bare bones this was. Radial damage. I really should, because the point damage and the radial damage come from actor. Interesting. That's true if it is valid to call restart player. The default. Interesting. It's like game mode though. Why does game mode inherit from actor? Like, I'm sure there's a reason, but it just seems a little odd. Because, like, called when a player controller is swapped to a new one during seamless travel. Actually, I guess some of this does make sense. Is this a game mode tech? I don't know. Oh. Oh, sorry. Yeah, here's the one that I created, which was really just a way to handle the game has ended stuff inside of blueprints, which I don't actually plan on doing. Okay. Game state. There's like a bunch of there's a bunch of functionality that just gets hidden from people in Blueprint land, which is kind of poopy. Restart game. Restart the game by default. Travel to the current map. Ah, look at that. Game mode restart game. Wait. That's arguably the way to go then. Broadcast a localized message to all actors. Find match. Get match state. Turns the current. processor to protect the state machine flow. Get network number. Get travel type. If returns true, if we want to travel absolute used by restart game by default. Override player state. Override PC player controller's player state with the values in old player state as part of the inactive player handling. Oh yeah, so this would be a way of like having some state on one controller, one player state, and then you can map that to the new player state as you switch between different maps and stuff like that. I think that's how this one works. Yeah, so it's just like this is your new player. Here's your player controller, your old player state, right? And then you would get your new player state, and then you would map the data into your new player state and return and then from within that you would then be able to retain information as you switch between player controllers or something like that. I'm a big fan of these. Reading the API docs is sometimes like actually really amazing. All right. So, today I want to get the get the the end game menu actually working correctly. Which it appears to be entirely broken. Which kind of blows, but it is what it is, I suppose. No, game has ended. Oh, that's why. Wait. Yeah, screen debug. Game has ended. And this would turn up in the this would be I see HUD base. Because this should be called right away. We also need to fix the RPM and the gear, because -1 is not a valid gear. But it also shouldn't be reverse if we're not actually moving. But that should be fairly easy to do. Okay, so that's not what's supposed to happen at all. Wait a ding dong moment here. It's in here. It's supposed to be bound. Right? Like right here. This way we do actually want to get rid of this, which is here. We're gonna do that and remove this. There's our broadcast, so we should be broadcasting the on end. We're not. No, we are doing something here. Right. This was going to be a blueprint implementable event. U functions. Overview. We're creating, implementing. A U function is a C++ class. To do. Authority only. This function will only execute from blueprint code if running on a machine with network authority, a server, dedicated server, or a single player game. Blueprint callable. This function can be executed in a blueprint level graph. Blueprint cosmetic will not run on dedicated servers. Oh, that's actually really cool. I didn't know about that one. I wonder if that one's new. Oh, that one's old. Huh. That's actually really cool. The function can be implemented in a blueprint or level blueprint graph. Native event. This function is designed to be overwritten by a blueprint, but also holds native event. Yeah. Okay, so this is the one that shows up as like a custom node. In fact, like a kind of custom node. Blueprint Pure is kind of cool. You don't have to like. I think with Blueprint Pure, you don't have the white line at the top that like does the code flow. Yeah, they just show up like this instead of this. Hmm. This function is only executable on the client that owns the object. Unreal header tool could produce a func for this function. It is up to the user to provide one with the declare function and define function macros. Net multicast, reliable. This function cannot be overridden in a subclass. The seal event keyword can only be used for events. For non-event functions, declare them as static or final. A service required. Service request. This function is an RPC remote procedure call. Service request. This implies net multicast and reliable. Interesting. This function is an RPC service response. This implies net multicast and reliable. Server. This function is only executed on the server. And reliable with validation. The validation one's kind of interesting. So like effectively, like it calls the validate, and if the validator returns, I think it's if the validator returns false, you get kicked from the match. In this situation, I want native event. Blueprint native event category equals IC. Then that adds this, which, there we go. Now when we rerun this, we'll get more details. I really should have said that I was working on TruckGun today instead of whatever the fuck I ended up pushing out as my thing. Because like the plan is to work on TruckGun. I hope that I can get some actual work done today. Because I feel like it's been too long since I've got an actual work done. Not base ready to implement is being called. Which is in here, I think. Ooh, excuse me. Here's this one. This is the HUD. The HUD should be calling this, which is this one here. Handle game has ended. So if I come over here and we do handle game has ended. Oh, wait, what? Oh, wait. Oh, right. I haven't actually done that. That's why. Reparent. I see. HUD. There we go. Now we should have it handle. Ah, here we go. So on game ended, let's just print here, right? What we want to do is we want to handle a pause effectively. Wait, now I want to go to the player controller. Right? So this is the BPIN player controller. If we go into here, let's go like this. Right? And this is an A player controller, right? So if we come back into here and we do A player controller, we can see all of the functions that we're going to have access to here. Because somewhere there's a pause, right? That's happening. So where is this pause event happening? Which is happening here. Oh, okay. On pause event. Right. Okay, so my pause event is happening on the... Okay, yeah. Okay, so the pause is happening here. It's not actually... Okay. Okay, that makes sense. We do actually want to pause the game, though. How are we pausing again? Call on... So where is this? It's in player controller. Locally, try to pause game. To pause network game. Return success indicator. Calls game mode. Base. Set pause. Wait, game mode base is what? Game mode base has pause? Wait a second. This is the player controller. This one here. I'm gonna close a bunch of these, because we're not gonna actually use them. Get net mode. Get off game mode. Is always valid during gameplay on the server. Is pause, set pause, game mode, set pause. Come into here. Let's go to the header. Right, adds a delegate. Adds the delegate to the list if the player controller has the right to pause the game. The delegate is called to see if it is okay to pause the game. Reason the game was paused has been cleared. This player control. Oh, interesting. Get player pause state. Interesting. we need to unpause using the correct pause and unpause here. Wait. Interesting. So pause. Yeah, so set pause, clear pause. Can be cleared if the delegate says it's okay. Allow pausing. Wait, so if I go to game mode, pause. Game mode possible, yeah. Okay. Oh, that's so cool. Okay. So wait. So if this is the case, and I want game mode to have the pause, then I should probably just update my game mode to actually have the pause. Sup, Leaf? Wait, why am I not getting your chat in my... Your chat didn't show up. Oh, now it's showing up. Wait, is it showing up here now? Yeah, now it showed up. What the fuck? Yeah, look at this. Yeah, apparently this like shadow banned you. Showed up there. It shows up in here. Also, thank you for the five stream streak. It is much appreciated. And then here it's like, yeah, nothing. Wait, but I don't see your dancing bananas. Oh wait, no, I see your dancing bananas on my... Okay. My brain is gonna catch up at some point. Someday over the rainbow. Okay. So that means if I then come into here, right, and I go to my game mode base here, ready to end match, handle match has ended. Here, we want to pause the match. Pause, set pause. True. Wait. Wait. So, wait. Allow pausing. So the player controller also has to allow pausing? But the first one. Okay, so if we do set pause, it's get player controller. I think I'm grabbing the player controller somewhere in here. That's not what I wanted. I think there's a ChatGPT one here that I'm going to ask. How do I get the current player controller from game mode? Get player controller. Calling a HUD event from game mode. I guess it would just be just get player controller. Yeah. Interesting. I know there's a get local player controller. Get local player controller? So we can still use this. Get first player controller. From a widget or HUD class. Oh, okay. So it's only from widget or HUD. That makes sense. So it's effectively this. Which, so if we want to do that, we do it here. We go like this. This returns back what we're looking for, which is an A player controller. If not PC, return. That do not have a special need other than toggle. Hmm. If allowed pausing. That's the calculated query when checking unpause. Yeah, but wait. I wanted to set it as a value though. Is there a different one? Clear pause. Allow pausing. Is paused. Set pause. This is supposed to take in a Boolean. And it's supposed to be a blueprint callable. Set game paused. Wait. That's different. Set game pause. Is this the PC? Set game pause? No. How do I pause a game from the game mode? Is it seriously that? I thought I just tried that. PC set pause. Oh, okay. PC clear pause? No. Let's take a look at this. Wait, then what's the difference between that and just set pause? Sorry, that and pause. PC pause. Oh, it's a server pause. Which server pause is just this. So it's just set pause with not paused. Interesting. So we do just want set pause, and then we just want true. Do-do. I feel like there's more here that I want that I'm probably missing here. But specifically here, let's take a quick look at game state. Game state. Has match ended? Handle begin play. Has match started? Do we have anything special here? Elapsed game time since match has started. Ah, yeah. Overridden by subclass. Get match state. If that's the way that works, then I'm sure that we can actually do this using on rep. Match state has changed. Get match state. Has match ended? Returns true if match is... So wait, is game state... It's not there. Huh. Wait, so... It's supposed to go to the game mode. Ugh. Want game base here. We're gonna close a bunch of these though for now. Overridden from has match ended. Turns true if match is waiting post match. This is the game state. Wait, doesn't game mode also have that though? Oh, this is ready to end. Right. Overridden from game state base. Blueprint callable. It's true if the match can be considered ended, defaults to false. This doesn't say whether or not it's public or private, though. It's not under protected, so it's going to be public. Okay. That makes sense. Okay, so here, under our public, what we actually want to do I'm going to move these here because these are properties and I want them to be a little bit more out of the way here. Move them up here and we're going to do public. Okay, and then here we're going to do virtual bool has match ended. We're going to do a virtual bool as match started. Then we can bring this here over here like so. Just like this. This always returns true, I think. Oh. Wait, get world. Which is a U world. And this has a match started. Wait, can you have a custom world? Do not wait. Oh, this is good. Sorry. Pausing from a game mode is absolutely possible, but only the server can pause the game mode. Yeah. You must do it through the player controller, not directly. Here are the correct and safe ways. Pause global time. Or blueprint on paused events. Oh. Wait. There's already an on paused event? Wait, does the HUD have an on paused event? Let's see here. Pause the game time. Triggers blueprint on paused event. Triggers game modes on pause changed. Stops tech. Wait, game mode? Game base. This is game mode pause. Is that in the game mode base, maybe? It's game state. Game state base. Player controller. I'm just gonna do this. Oh wait, I completely closed out my Trello board like an idiot. Wait, this is game mode. This is the one that we're looking for here. Pause. Allow pausing. Allow cheats. Clear pause. It's game mode base. Allow pausing. Turn true if the player is allowed to pause the game. On pause? Triggers Blueprint on pause event. Unreal Engine on pause event. Statically handled through a combination of existing functions and custom event creation rather than a single universal event node for all scenarios. Detecting pause and unpause. To detect when the game becomes unpaused or paused, you generally rely on input event that triggers the set game pause node. For example, if you press the P key to pause, you can use flip-flop node after the P event. Custom event for specific actions. Creating custom events. If you need to trigger specific actions when the game pauses or unpauses, you can create custom events in your blueprints. Yeah, that's fine. Pause event. On pause sequence player. For level sequence players. It's a dedicated on pause event. Interesting. Wait, so does that mean that the HUD has an on pause? This is the HUD. This one here has it, which is the player controller. Right? Or is it just game mode? Pausing for multiplayer. Hey, Ryro 777. Wrap pause in game mode. You can pause game from anywhere. It's not really what I want. If you're using common UI, your project uses it. Do not add UI directly here. I'm also really bad with just pronouncing names in general. Rero, you can say. Okay, Rero. Welcome to the party. How is your day been going? Use it. Do not add UI directly here. Let the player controller handle UI. Use a delegate. Ruh-roh. Hello, tomorrow can only get better. Oh, rough. So tomorrow can only get better. That's true. I am looking forward to Wednesday myself. I was gonna handle my pause from okay, so this effectively actually this here is actually what I'm already doing. With the this is the I've already got this set up here. I think in I don't think it's in game mode though. Right now what I'm trying to do is um wire up things. You're developing a game? Yeah. Yeah. I can show you this test level. Ooh. Oh. Yeah. And then if we go to the main menu and click play, we can see the actual game map. It takes a little the loading screens don't show up if you play in editor, which I'm playing in editor right now. But I do have actual loading screens that show up. They're imperfect, but they show up. I plan on doing entirely custom loading screens because I want to do some extra stuff with them, but I haven't gotten that far yet. So this is what the game actually looks like right now. I do need to make some changes to like make some updates to the way certain things work and stuff like that, or look, I should say. But this is the current map. Yes. Yes, it is. This is Shibuya Crossing. This is the Shibuya area in Tokyo. Yeah, I've got to update the AI because the AI is kind of not great right now. The AI definitely has its own problems at the moment, which is unfortunate, but it happens. Because that's just the sound that I could find. Female grunting sounds just sound like kind of vaguely sexual. To be fair though, male grunting sounds also kind of sound vaguely sexual, even when that's not really what you're going for. But I also think it's kind of hilarious. I haven't added any of the male grunting sounds in. But yeah, impact sounds for females when you find them online, they're always very vaguely sexual sounding. I'm literally not joking. end goal, we're gonna go for kind of cell shady and anime look for this game. Is the desired output, right? And like this is one of the more recent characters that we put together, and then we also have, I can get there. Heroes. So we've got that one, but we've also got like, we have like Payo. I'm gonna have to resize her a bit large. And we have a monkey man. To be fair, Payo is actually quite tiny. So she's a VTuber on Twitch, and she's part of Hollow Live. We want to try and hit. We're gonna be applying for Hollow Indie. So, what's the gameplay gonna be like? So the gameplay is, if we hit play, right, you see the girls walking around with the pink hair. They're pedestrians. They're placeholder pedestrians, right? The goal is to not run them over. And if you look in the top corner here, you'll see the score is going down every time I hit one. But you've got Monkey Man here, and Monkey Man increases score, and Payo increases score. So the goal is to run over the heroes while avoiding the pedestrians. And the idea is that you are Truck-kun. You've been sent to this world to find the heroes, to save the realms from the demon lords. So if you watch anime, you will vaguely understand this a lot better. Oh, fuck. Ad breaks suck. All right, and we're back. We should be back at least. Yeah. So the point of the game is you are Truck-kun, which is effectively we haven't decided if it's a sentient truck or a person actually driving the truck yet. But effectively, you are a truck. You're driving around the Shibuya area in Tokyo, and your goal is to run over the heroes to help them to the other side, help them to the other realms, to save those realms from demon lords. And the name of the game is Isekai Crusader Truck-kun's Realm Rescue. Actually, Google AI actually did me really well on this one. Like although it's still got Unity, which is not true. It's an Unreal now. I started in Unreal, and then I tried out Unity, and then I went back to Unreal because Unity was really pissing me off. And thank you for the follow, much appreciated. This is the old builds for the game, and this is our logo, like the game logo. It's gonna be a fun game. At least I think it's gonna be a fun game. I hope it's gonna be a fun game. This for oops. Sorry. Effectively, this is for my company. We've got a I go to the main menu and go to the credits. This is kind of the team at the moment. Although nobody's getting paid. Nobody makes any money off of this. We've got Aku is doing props and vehicles. Chris Motor K and Rem Toto are doing character art. The more anime one that for the Hollow Indie submission, that's done by Rem Toto, and Payo and Monkey Man are done by Chris. They have a bit of a different style, but. And you guys planning on publishing it on Steam or something? Yes. Yeah. And then we've got Fazzy San, Payo. Payo, we're using her. We got 2D art, and we got permission to use her YouTuber likeness. And Fazzy San is really excited to have her YouTuber likeness on here. Kak is also a stream, so I think pretty much everybody here streams except for Aku. Yeah. Kak is a Japanese artist from Hokkaido who does anime art, and is I think they're also a mangaka. And they gave me permission to use their original art in the game as well. So we have some actual. Payo is also Japanese. I don't know what area of Japan she's from though, but she's really cool. Fazzy San is from Indonesia. No, wait, Malaysia. We're from all around the world. And then we have translations for these languages here. Not all of them are good translations, but we have translations for these languages at the moment. Twitch. Yeah. Oh no, it's not off topic. It's fine. Create widget null class. Why are you not allowing me to jump to it then? So I'm doing environment stuff and environment world building, game design, and all the game programming. And then everybody else is an artist, effectively. I am the main creator. I'm also in charge of all the sound and audio and stuff like that as well. Although I'm gonna have to find some actual like audio people at some point to help get some audio created for the game or something like that. Because I don't want people to play the game and then get copyright struck. I would like it to be streamer friendly, streamer and content creator friendly. So, but that's probably going to involve money, and now I'm a little light on that. So that's a bridge I will cross later. If we get Hollow Indie, which Hollow Indie allows us to use all of the Cover Corp stuff and Hollow Live stuff, one of the characters that we want to do is Mori Hololive. And she does punk rock, and punk rock is kind of the perfect audio style for this game, because we're going for that, like, I want to go for that kind of Crazy Taxi vibe. So we'll probably use we plan on adding her if we get the Hollow Indie. Yeah. Hollow Indie. Hollow Indie is cool. So we can apply, and if they like our idea, they'll publish us. And this will allow us to we can publish, and we can we can publish the game, but we can also monetize it using Hollow Indie. So that's going to be dope. The biggest one that we are going to run into is this one, the estimated completion date. We have no fucking idea. Oh yeah. Rem is on vacation right now. His family took him out of country. So we've got to wait for him to get back, and I'm doing all the programming by myself and all of the map and stuff like that. So it's hard. Looks like a lot of work. It's a ton of work. And if I'm being entirely honest, my favorite part of it is the programming side of it. But I did make like I built out a intersection generation system in Houdini. And I had to do vertex animations, which are kind of interesting. So like if I F8, right, we take a look at, say, this one. So this is me. All of these here that are highlighted now, these are all one object. And none of these characters, none of the pedestrians have bones. They're all boneless. Right? So none of them are being animated. They're all actually in T-pose. Well, so they're all part of mass, and they're just static meshes that are being like that are just being like kind of moved. There's no collisions or anything attached to them. It's an interesting system. But the most important thing is this character has no bones or animations attached to them. Right? This character here, she has animations and bones. And Monkey Man, the guy who just flew up, he has bones and animations. But none of the pedestrians have bones or animations. Yeah, substantially lighter on the system. Because bones are really expensive, right? So like, if we go to Monkey Man, we have a skeletal mesh, right? And we can see that like there's this, and then if we do this, it actually alters the character, right? But if we go to the pedestrian, right? Yeah, it's heavier on the GPU. This is the pedestrian character, right? But she's a static mesh, not a skeletal mesh. Like I have a skeletal mesh for her, which is this. But we don't use this. This is only used when she's ragdolling, right? So we spawn it in, and then it kind of gets deleted effectively. So she has no animations. So what we do is we have this texture, this material. This is the material for the character. And as you can see, parts of it are moving kind of like a walk cycle. And that's because there is this layer here, right? So this is a image, right? And each pixel is one frame, one vertex for position, right? Inside of a bounded box around the character, right? So this is a position in three-dimensional space. And then we have the rotation, right? These are rotations in three-dimensional spaces in a three-dimensional bounding box for an individual vertex, right? Each pixel. And then here is a weight. And I don't entirely understand the weight thing, but it's something that comes with it, right? But this I entirely understand, right? I don't know how I would build it myself, but I understand it, right? It's like half the battle. I can kind of show you how it works, right? So if we take a look here at this, right? We come in here and we moving on. Work area. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so if we fill with black, because black's easier on the eyes. So what we have is we have the character, right? And the character, we want the character to look like they're walking, right? So we might have that, right? And then what we do is we'll go for purple, is we take a bounding box around the character, right? And the character is made out of points. There's points, individual points inside of the world, right? Because if you look at a polygon, right, it's just this or this, right? Okay, so what we do is this character here might be made up of, say, 26,000 points, right? So what we do is we say, hey, you know, we have points. Sorry, we have 60 frames in this walk animation, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to sample every single point and grab the location for each frame, and we're going to save it into an image, right? And each point is relative to this bounding box, right? So we would take this here and we'd be like, you know, can I make my own color here? Yeah, here, right? So we've got RGB, right? So we have 255, 255, 255, right? So these are our 3D coordinates. So here we could say that this one is going to be, you know, it's in place 25 for X, Y is 30, and Z is 100, right? So then if we do that, then we can just color this blue. Right? And then we go to the next one. And then what was the difference effectively between these two points, right? So maybe it changed on the Y, right? Or something like that, right? So maybe this is 31 now, right? If I can type there. So then we color it and it's a slightly different blue. And we just keep doing that for each point on the character. Right? And then when we send all this data over to the GPU, is the difference extrapolated by the gradient difference automatically. Well, so it's not so much a gradient so much as it is the physical locations, right? So if we go here and we take a look at our girl right here. So if we go to wireframe, you can see all the points, right? Like her legs are probably one of the easiest to see the points on, right? Let's go to her skeletal mesh because she's not walking, so it'll be easier to see the wireframe here, right? So if we come in here, right, a point is going to be right there. That's a point, right? So that point there, we're recording its position in three-dimensional space, its rotation in three-dimensional space, right? And then we're sending this position image, rotation image, weights image, and where they are in the animation last, right? So like which frame we want to render. So we send that over to the GPU, right? And the GPU just takes care of adjusting the character's current position for each one of these as it's rendering to screen. So this is called VAT. Let's get a better color that will show up better, right? So this is called VAT, which is vertex animation texture. And usually a regular animation is an FBX file, right? And it controls the bones, but that happens on your CPU, and then your CPU computes the animation and sends the data to your GPU. With a vertex animation, the GPU, we send it a static mesh and the GPU takes care of making it good. So the animations are baked to texture maps. So no bones. Yeah. And that allows us to have like 3,000 units animated on screen at once. Right? Because like if you've got I think it was the 2060 has like 12,000 cores. That's too many. Sorry. It has 12,000 threads, right? I'm not sure because I don't use Blender. And I don't know how to use Blender. But I do know that you can do this in Blender. So specifically the one that I'm using is actually part of Unreal. So Unreal built the vertex animations that I'm doing. It's part of the UE engine. And when I was doing it in Unity, I did it through Houdini. And that's just because I know Houdini better. But yeah, there's vertex animations in Blender. I don't know if they come out of box or if you have to do something else. Then no IK, FK. Yeah, no, none of that. Now, there is a downside, is that sending a static mesh with all the extra data to the GPU is substantially more expensive than sending an FBX with an like the regular animation, right? So like your overhead cost for sending a vertex animation for one unit is much higher than sending a traditional traditional animation, and the quality of the animation is worse in Vertex. But if you need 1,000 units to be animated or appear to be animated, Vertex animations are substantially lighter, right? So if you're doing, say, like 30 plus units, right? 30 plus, that is going to be faster. If you're doing like 2 units, traditional is going to be faster. Well, it's so this is pretty easy, right? Because we're gonna have like maybe 10 different heroes, right? And heroes are the only ones that are going to have traditional animations, right? And you might have one hero on the map at any given time. So for heroes, we're just doing regular animations. For pedestrians, we're going to have maybe 4 different pedestrians, and we're going to have like 3,000 of them. So for pedestrians, we do Vertex animations. For heroes, we do traditional animations. Yeah, it's like the hurdle with what I'm doing is understanding the basic concept, and then like once you understand the basic concept, even to like a like it's a very complex topic, right? And you can go very deep into it, and it gets super complicated and stuff like that, right? But like as a whole, it's not a very it's hard to describe in some aspects, but once you get it, it's just like this makes perfect sense, right? And then it's just a matter of like, you know, being like, oh, I see where you would want to use it and stuff like that. It makes perfect sense. Yeah, exactly. Bibver, how are things? Yeah. Well, sort of. So about, I think it's 200. 200 are just static meshes with capsules. They're actors. Right? And then I think the rest of them are instance static meshes. I have to go. But man, it was really cool listening to you explain this. Well, I will be back again tomorrow. And thank you for stopping by. Hopefully you'll get notifications for when I'm live. Is there a way I can know when your game gets released? Yeah, I'll be announcing it on Twitter and Instagram. My Twitter is I think my Twitter is just my regular Pseudokid. Yeah, it's Pseudokid TV. And then also then my my Instagram will also be released putting it up, and once I get the and my YouTube as well. And then once I get the Steam store up, you'll be able to wishlist it. But the Steam store is going to be I need to get closer to release, because you need to provide a bunch of images that will get people to wishlist the game and stuff like that, because they kind of give you like a time frame where if you're not popping off to, like, if you're not doing well, they start down ranking your video game. So you wanna try and have a nice store page on what on like your first presentation. So I've got to make videos and take screenshots and stuff like that of a more complete version of the game with like the style and everything like that. So when people look at it, they're like not trying to guess at what's going on, kind of thing. All right, I'll look for it. Sounds good. Also, there's the itch page, which you'll be able to play the demo when it becomes available. Because I'll be releasing the demo on the itch page as soon as I've got the gameplay, the gameplay loop finished. Where am I? Bibver, I've noticed that since I got my brain surgery, I've been stuttering a bit more. It's starting to get annoying. It's 30 seconds too long. It's too long. Oh, it's over now. It ended before I thought it would. The timer said that it was still going. Yeah, I've noticed since I had my brain surgery, I've been stuttering a bit more. And it was much louder than your mic. That is unsurprising. They always fucking blast ads. It's like, hey, can we turn this up to 11, please? It's like, please don't. The person I'm listening to is quiet. I wish that they would normalize them to the like ads should be normalized to the audio level of the person you're watching. Oh, I was saying that I was going to say that I've noticed that like since my brain surgery, I've been stuttering more. When I'm speaking. Yeah. I don't know if it's necessarily like a yeah, on YouTube. Like there's always been like the pauses and stuff like that, but like there's actually kind of a stutter when I get into technical talks now. Not as brain foggy as I used to be, I don't think. I don't think, but it's that one's a hard one to answer for some reason. You get much you getting much physical activity, or maybe adverse not to advise not to. No, I've been I've been getting out and about I'm not really lifting weights or anything like that right now. I think I'll probably get into that after I get my staples out. I'll talk to my I've got a doctor's appointment on Wednesday morning. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be Wednesday. They come out Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. They come out, and my mom's ex is gonna be driving me. So he's like, "Hey, it might be really painful. So do you want to ride? I'll drive you there and drive you home." I'm like, "Fucking bet, hell yeah." I was so down for that. Um, I was just gonna take the train into town and go see my doctor. Sleep's been okay. I get about 6 to 7 hours a night, which is pretty normal. Like this morning, I got up at I think 4:30. Ow, 4:30 or something like that. Ooh. I scratched my staples. Give me one sec. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab more drink and some allergy not allergy pills. Some pain meds. No. I live with my girlfriend. She washed my hair last night. It was great. Because I can't wash my hair myself right now because I might put too much pressure on the staples or in that general area. But yeah. No, it's definitely good having somebody. With the brain surgery, it's suggested that you do puzzles and stuff like that to exercise your brain after brain surgery. So I've been trying to do more programming, arts, stuff like that. You got your game? Exactly. Give me 2 seconds and I'll or a minute or two. I will be right back. Sorry. Okay, back. Sorry about the wait. I forgot my pain med. Okay, I'm back for real this time. Like real. Ugh. Thank you. What's up, Squid? I'm doing okay. How about yourself? How are things on your end? Better than the alternative, right? Now, where was I? This is the game mode. Clear pause. This adds a delegate to the list if the player controller has the right to pause the game. Kind of curious about the is paused. It's in here, right? Oh, interesting. Pausers.number is greater than 0. Ah. Wait, what? Get world settings. Wait, but if we go to set pause here. Puzzle begins? Yeah. We're trying to figure out exactly how pause actually works. So bool current is paused in here, which player state wait. Wait. So get world settings, get pause or player state. Wait. What is this? Actor containing all script associate accessible world properties. Absolutely. A world settings is one of Unreal's most important but often overlooked classes. Interesting. They say that that so many things are super important, and it's just like not everything is super important. You need to be a little bit less generous with that term there, ChatGPT. Think of it as the rule book for how your level behaves. Physics, time, gravity, game type, lighting, behavior, streaming, and more. Clearly, what a world setting is. Every U world in Unreal has one a world setting actor that defines the global setting for that level. It's automatically created per map. You can see it in the world outliner under world setting. Every U world in Unreal has one A world settings that defines the global settings for that level. U world owns the world's data, actors, and systems. Defines gameplay defaults. Defines game rules and flow, not the world's physics/time. World settings, how the world behaves. Game mode, how the game behaves. Here's the main group. Here are the main groups of settings, a world settings manager. Game mode and default classes. Finds which game mode, player, controller, HUD, and pawn to spawn when the level loads. Gonna call it a night here, man. All right, well, you have a good one, man. I looked through some of my old code recently, and the stuff written by ChatGPT is really obvious. Yeah, that does track. Thanks, and you have a good sleep, Vibber. Thanks. I will do my best. Here are the main game mode, default classes. Global Gravity Z. Handles level streaming volumes, seamless travel, and you can also flag that to determine if the level can be streamed in/out, and how world setting environment. Pausing, you can control global tick behavior, pause physics simulations, or set minimum frame rates for physics. Interesting. Change gravity dynamically. You can subclass it to make your own world rules. Would you like me to show you how to create and register custom A world settings? Let's take a look to see if we've got anything that we actually want to take advantage of here. No, I don't think we care. All right. That's fine. Hit pause or state. What? Oh, it's because it's literally right there. Okay. Oh, okay. I see how this works. Okay. Okay, so player controller, we want to do this on. So we want the actually, I guess we could do it here. I feel like HUD should probably be where we do this, though. Right? Get owning player controller. Right? And then if a player controller PC There we go. That worked. Okay, so now if we go to here, we go to overlays. Go to the HUD, time attack HUD here. That's the pause. So I want to move this into C++ land so we can have this be a little bit more, nice. So let's do that real quick. And this is the HUD, right? Yeah, okay, this is the HUD. What we want is the game state. We want this here. Yeah. Okay, so we come to here and we go to IC. End match widget. This is the this is the this should be the full overlay. End match. Ooh, interesting. Is a common activatable widget. Wait, is this not? Common activatable widget. It is. So this should be VBP. Wait, did I not do that right? End match. Oh, it's this one. That's why. And then our in-game overlay is going to be here, which is this one. And there. Okay, and then so here on begin play, HUD here, we want a begin play. If HUD, wait, no. This is in-game widget. Oops. In-game overlay. In-game overlay widget. And this would be get. Maybe we should just do this as an object pointer because the weak object pointer is probably not what we want. Interesting. So this matches correctly, and this would be is valid, right? And then this you would expect it to be a get. Well, what's? Oh, that's why. There we go. Wait. I see. I. Wow. Okay. I see how this works now. Maybe that's the issue here. Variable matches. What is the proper pointer type for this? Did I say? Did I copy the wrong ones? No. Okay. This is a pointer. That's cool. That's not what I asked though. Like some of this is stuff I didn't ask. Should I use T weak object pointer? Natural question. Let's go over when you own the object, normal U property. You observe it. Objects may be destroyed anytime. Own or manage this U object. Keep it alive for me. Or if it exists, don't keep it alive. Oh. I'm getting this error. I try and create the widget. Right, then, yeah, but isn't user? Oh, right. That's why. No. This is supposed. Oh, right. Right. Fuck. Okay. There we go. No, I know why it wasn't working. Wait. Add to player screen versus. What was the difference between add to viewport and player screen? There we go. Okay. And then it's game state, right? That has the pause. That's not what I wanted. It's world setting. No, it's player controller, right? I am in the rock. Amen the rock. 1, 2, 3. Welcome. Can I react to your computer application textbook? Maybe. Is it like a passage or something? Okay. So it's a JavaScript. It's a JavaScript book. It's an interesting combination. I wouldn't say that's 4 programs. It's not really 4 programs. It's 2 languages. Wait, you said C++, not CSS. Wait, why are you using it? Like, why would it cover C++, JavaScript, and Java? Sorry, C++ and JavaScript. Interesting. Have to do it on computer. What's the name of the textbook? Well, I don't I probably don't know the textbook that you're referring to, but I might know the question that you have. But like, you're in grade 12. Okay. Well, if you've got a question, you can ask. That's an interesting combination, right? Because like very few people, almost nobody does web dev in C++. Yeah. It's like C++ is really for like apps, like actual desktop apps and stuff like that. I should say desktop, or I should say like PC apps. Apps, games, and embedded. Jenny? I'm not familiar with it. God damn it. I hate the cow on this. Yeah. And then you can like HTML isn't even worth mentioning. And then JavaScript is web front end, and you can do web backend using it. I would never suggest it, but whatever. Some people do it. It's popular. Web backend. Technically, you can do embedded. Again, I probably wouldn't suggest it. You can do mobile. You can do games. I probably wouldn't suggest it for games, but like you can do games with it. It's not like it's yeah, you probably wouldn't want to do like 3D games in it or anything intensive, but whatever. You can do desktop. You can do PC apps. There's really nothing that JavaScript can't do. And then SQL is your database language. DB. That's the only thing that this is for. So if you're learning web dev, this is a terrible language. It's a good language to learn. HTML isn't worth talking about in this context. HTML takes like 1 hour to learn. Like you can master HTML in one day. It's not difficult. HTML is like it's not a language really. It's just like how you structure a page. Now, can you like master it like in one entire day? Well, Java is a different language than JavaScript. Java and is not JavaScript. No, I'm just gonna put JS. I don't want to type it out. I don't want to spell it out. Yeah, these are not the same. And C++ is nothing to do with JavaScript. From the sounds of it, it sounds like what they're doing is like from the very little information that you've given me so far, it's like C++ is your backend, right? It connects to an SQL database, DB, and JS powers your front end, which isn't entirely bad. And this is just web APIs, probably in JSON. You'd have to give me the textbook name. I don't know the textbook. This is probably MySQL because popularity. Well, sure, I'm sure that I could Google it, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be the one that I find, right? Like I'm not finding any textbooks that are these specific languages, right? Like JavaScript, C++, and SQL are those aren't common web languages together, right? Like C++ is most commonly taught for not web development. Still not seeing it. But what's your question though? I'm cool not clicking on that. But what's your question? I'm more than happy to answer your question. I don't want to go to this site though. Where was I? Wait, that's the has ended, and then we set the pause. Still want to find out how the on pause gets because some of these have on pause. I feel like The controller hasn't? Yeah, no, that's on possess. I think at least one of these had an on pause. Key down, on preview key down. What desired input config? Added to focus path. Animation started, finished. Preview mouse button down. Interesting. I know I saw an on pause somewhere. Was it game state? Clear pause. Okay. I don't think it was game state. No. Default can unpause. Is paused. Is this the controller? Yeah. Should perform full tick when paused. Game paused. Play a force feedback pattern on the player controller. Interesting. Oh, this is the player controller. That's why. Okay. I actually do want to do that at some point. I think that I'll do that when you like ram into something. We'll play force feedback on the controller, so you get some feedback on that. Okay, but that doesn't. It's a textbook. A textbook is only so useful, right? But what's the question, right? Because you said you had a question about it, right? Or no, sorry, you wanted me to react to your goddamn ads. 17 seconds. Five, four, three, two, one. All right. We should be back. So your teacher saying that Java and C++ can be used together your teacher's correct. They can. Right? There's no limit to the number of languages that you can use in a system, right? It's just like how do you want to structure it, right? There's different ways to do it. Java can utilize C++ for speed. I think it's probably one of the more common ones. Although, like, it's hard to say. It really depends on what you're doing, right? We don't save this, fill this, right? So if you have a microservice architecture, right? You might have you might have part of your application here, which is like this here is CPP, and this here part is Java, or this here part is JavaScript. Sorry, when you said that your teacher said Java and C++ are used together, did you mean JavaScript or Java? Because those are two popular languages that are very different from each other, right? But like you could also add Python into here, or you could do Go or Rust. C++ and JavaScript, I don't see those being commonly used together. That's uncommon. That would be wildly uncommon. There's a bunch of languages that people use with JavaScript, and C++ is rarely one of them. I think, like the top ones are going to be JavaScript with JavaScript. Go's popular. Python's really popular right now for that. PHP is going to be really popular. I think that about covers like the most popular ones right now. You could use like Rust, you could use C++, you could use C, right? Like you can really use any language you want, because like your JavaScript is going to be your front end. You don't have a choice, right? This is going to be your front end, right? This, you have no choice. It is going to be JavaScript. You cannot get around that, right? Your backend can be any language you want, right? The backend is anything you want it to be, right? C++ is almost never the backend. There's so few companies that use C++ to power the backend of a server, right? It's not that it doesn't get done. It's that it's not popular, right? Because C++ incurs a lot of extra development time for not enough performance gains. So the complexity of your application skyrockets, and your development time skyrockets, and you get no real world performance benefits out of it, right? For the most part. So C++ is not a common web language. There was a time when it was, and that was before PHP. And before modern languages, more modern languages were, can you see programs in the textbook? I'm not interested in opening the PDF. But like, okay, so you're focusing on the wrong thing. Don't focus on the programs. Focus on learning the language. You need to build cool and interesting things in the language that interest you and solve problems. Because I see C++ in the JavaScript. What? You can access C++ from JavaScript. So you can bring C++ into JavaScript world, right? So you have C++ and then you've got your JS, right? And you can make JavaScript calls. But then JavaScript, these won't work on the front end. You can't do that for front end. It's only back end. Right? Yeah, like there's an entire system for it, right? This is actually fairly common. Whether or not you would actually be doing this in the, like, if you were in a production environment, whether or not you'd actually be wrapping and calling C++ from within JavaScript, that's a different story. That's like directly like programming against C++. That's going to be less common. But absolutely, you can do JavaScript calls straight, like you can go from JavaScript to C++ and back, right? And like I've done a bit of development for that. Yeah, no, document.write is just a JavaScript call. I think that's a node call, isn't it? You also shouldn't be using it. Sounds like this is really outdated. When did they get rid of it? Like when did they stop suggesting it? But document.write is a JavaScript call, not a C++ call. My teacher said it's like count. Document.write is not like count. Or cout, yeah. It is sort of. It's different, but it is. It's similar. I suppose. Like cout puts it out, like outputs to so in this situation, right? Like if we're talking about document.write specifically, document.write versus cout, like cout, right? You've got your console. Ugh, don't mind my spelling. Whatever you put through this is just going to show up on the current line of the console, right? It's going to be like X, Y, Z, right? And then document.write and then the string that you give it, X, Y, Z, right? This inputs this it inserts it into an existing text file effectively. Like you've got a file .html, right? And if you've got like all this stuff, and then you'll have a script, right? And this we'll just do this JS. Now it'd be like script, and then you'd have your stuff, and then you'd have your ending tag, right? JS, right? And then this happens here, and when this runs, it executes from top down, and when it hits this section here, it takes all of this, executes it, and puts in X, Y, Z, and then continues. So it's a little bit different because cout isn't dealing with a file. It's just dealing with a singular line, right? And you can have it be multi-line by, obviously putting in new line statements and stuff like that. But like the idea is that cout is just kind of like a buffer. You're writing to a buffer and then it figures out what to do from there. Where document.write is actually like inserting a line into an actual document. So there's a bit of a difference there. So if you think of it as just like actually cout, it might get a bit confusing later, but you could think of it as just a replacement for cout. It's like print in Python. This is just basic level JavaScript, not that deep. Well, everything is deep, right? Like one, you shouldn't be using document.write. No, but like every language has their version of this, right? Like document.write's not even the only way to do this. Do something like this. And you shouldn't use document.write. It's end of life. It's deprecated. There's warnings against using it. Right? And you wouldn't want to use, like, even if this was still around, like even if this wasn't adamantly suggested not to use, right? You still wouldn't want to do this because you would probably want to do React or Preact or Angular or, insert JS framework. Right? But this is a good starting point. Like just vanilla JavaScript's a great starting point. Yeah, but in your browser, there's a problem. This is the JavaScript API documentation. Deprecated. This feature is no longer recommended, though some browsers might still support it. You can't guarantee it going forward. So tomorrow, Chrome could remove document.write, and then if you rely on document.write in your application, it will stop working. There is no guarantee that document.write will be there tomorrow. That's what this is saying. Tomorrow it could be deleted completely from your browser. It is not your IDE's, like, if unless you've got an advanced IDE, like a proper IDE, which Genie is not a proper IDE. If you've got a proper IDE, your IDE will tell you do not use this, right? A proper IDE would say do not use document.write. Now, for the sake of learning, it's fine. Just know that it could go away tomorrow and your application will break. There's a better way, right? It's been so long since I've had to do something like that, so I've got to look it up. Because like we don't really write raw JavaScript that way in production environments. Oh, there it is. Create element. This is the one that I was thinking of. This is a more robust way of doing it, using create element instead of document.write. Yeah, but I'm not. Okay, so I'm not telling you don't use it. I'm telling you be wary of it because it could go away tomorrow. Right? So right now, right? If we go back to the document.write, right? We go here. This says tomorrow it could be removed from Chrome, right? And Edge and Firefox, right? So tomorrow, this document.write has no promise of availability tomorrow, right? It currently is supported in most browsers. It might not be supported anymore tomorrow. An update could be pushed out that removes it. So be wary of using it in a production environment. You're not in a production environment, you're in a learning environment. Learning environment, okay. Production environment, not okay. Right? In a production environment, you would use create element. It does effectively the same thing, but you get the actual div or the header tag or something like that. And then you can add to it using elements. You still need to use it on a computer? Well, if you're just doing JavaScript, then are you sure it's C++ and not CSS? Because like CSS is usually taught with HTML and JavaScript together because they kind of rely. Oh, those three languages rely on each other, right? CSS is easy to learn, incredibly difficult to master. But yeah, like this is how it'd be done in a production environment if you wanted to like actually. Interesting. I wonder what they've got you doing C++ for though. Other than it being a great learning. I'm gonna become CMA. I'm not sure what a CMA is. Well, that's good. I imagine it's something. I don't think that we have that title here. Is the only reason why I don't know what it is. Cost and management account. Like an accountant or just like part of management. Would that be kind of like a project manager? If that's the case, why do you need programming for that? You can know the cost of product. Sounds like a good title. I work in I've been working in Webland for a while, so that could be that we just don't have CMAs in or CMAs in the area that I work. So it's just a syllabus to study. Okay. C++ is a great language. Great language to learn. Amazing first language to learn. Very difficult language to master. It has lots of warts and sharp edges. But it's a great language. It really teaches you the fundamentals of like understanding programming and stuff like that. You have to be type aware. You have to manage your memory to some degree. Small applications you can get away with like not managing memory. But you'd have to be aware of that type of stuff. So it's a yeah, but hey, if you get to learn it, right, might as well. SQL is a great language. I have a feeling you're going to use a lot more SQL than you are going to C++ and JavaScript. There's what is it? Microsoft Access, right? Yeah, this one. This is an SQL database under the hood. I didn't actually want to go there. This is an SQL database under the hood. And I didn't learn. No, but it sounds like you're going to learn SQL, and SQL is a phenomenal language. Especially if you're doing anything with like accounting or spreadsheets and stuff like that. SQL is great. It's a great language to learn. I 100% suggest that you pay extra attention during your SQL studies. It will pay off in the future. No, it's not difficult. It's absolutely not difficult. But if you're going into a more management track where you're going to be like managing projects and budgets and stuff like that, SQL is probably going to be no, it's not hard. SQL is one of the easier out of the languages that you gave me, right? Which was what it was C++, JavaScript, and SQL and HTML. HTML is like we don't even talk about it in industry. It's just like if you do anything with the web, you know HTML, but it also takes like a day to like pretty much master HTML. It's like the easiest language on earth to learn. It's so unbelievably easy. JavaScript is difficult because it has a lot of like weird edge cases and stuff like that you have to be aware of, and because people do so much with it and whatnot, it can actually be challenging to like actually learn JavaScript. C++ is a legendarily hard language. It's widely considered one of the hardest languages to learn, and SQL is actually simple to learn. Building databases, like normalizing, going through the different normal forms of a database, structuring a database properly and stuff like that, that's a bit challenging. But learning SQL is not a challenging language. It's really just not a challenging language. Learning like the caching and private keys and like your indexes and stuff like that, that can take a while, but like you don't need to learn those to use the language. You need to learn that when you're building the database. And unless you're going into database management, I don't know that you would need to learn the intricacies of like all of that. No. We're getting asked questions about languages and stuff like that. Amen the Rock Amen is on track for a kind of like management management role. He's studying for some a management kind of role, and it's going to involve like accounts and budgets and stuff like that. And I was saying that SQL is going to be something that he's actually probably going to use a lot. The skills are extremely marketable, and it fucking sucks. I don't know. I don't have anything against database. Like SQL is just like not a hard language. Let's see here. Structured query language, which SQL is just structured query language. Working with MySQL, SQL commands, creating tables, inserting data into tables, topics of SQL, retrieving information from tables, modifying data in tables, changing the structure of a table, deleting rows from a table, removing tables from the database, nested queries, concepts and views. Yeah, that's all. Like that's pretty much everything that you're going to do with an SQL database. And all SQL databases are fairly similar. Like you access them, you create, you delete, and stuff like that. Pretty much the same in all of them. Yeah. Yeah, SQL can be a bit verbose. Like doing proper select commands where you're like not selecting star and you're like, I have to list all of the rows that I actually want information out of. It can be such a pain in the ass. So I'm with you on that, but like it's really not that bad. Like I don't think I've ever found SQL to be actually difficult. Data types in JavaScript, that's surprisingly complex. Wait, what? How do you do data types in JavaScript and then do variables? That's a weird order. Built-in functions. That's your document.write right there. Mm-hmm. The data types are different in C++ and JavaScript. The C++ data types are better in every single way. They're not the same. they are not the same. I program in both of those languages. I can tell you they're not the same. We're gonna snooze that ad for 5 minutes.
You have reached the voicemail box of Kino.
Yeah, my primary languages are Elixir, Python, JavaScript, and C++. C and JavaScript do not have the same data types. They are very different.
Just wait for the tone.
You can if you learn C++ data types, they map to JavaScript data types. But JavaScript data types are different. Right? Like under the hood, if you go digging into JavaScript, it uses C++ data types. But like it also doesn't, right?
The person you're trying to reach.
It uses like really super dynamic and weird like types that you can't do in any other language. Cuz like it's really easy to append, like add. You can add at runtime. You can add functions and stuff like that to JavaScript types and stuff like that. I mean, operators are the same. Like there's a lot of mapping.
Please leave your name, number, and a message after the tone.
Well, data types are booleans, ints, floats, doubles. Yeah, but JavaScript doesn't really have integers, right? And the arrays are not actually they're not actually like an actual array. They're a linked list. And right, like there's a lot. There's a big difference, right? And then like you get into objects, right? And objects are super dynamic in a way that's not dynamic in C++. Like so like data types are they map. So if you understand one, you can understand the other. And understanding one well makes the other one much easier to learn, right? Arithmetic operators are going to be the same across all languages. They might have slightly different syntax here and there, but like arithmetic operators are the same. Although even then, like, because JavaScript has triple equals, double equals, and single equals, which single equals is an assign, double equals is a mostly equivalent, and triple equals is an exact match. Where in C++, an equal sign, one equal sign is the same as in JavaScript. It's an assign, and then a double equals is a compare, right? But it's a much deeper compare than a JavaScript double equals, because it acts more like a triple equals in JavaScript. And then your plus, your whatnot. Although like you in other languages, you like like there's the double star in Python, which is like if I remember correctly, it's a special times type of multiplication, and I think this one's more Python specific. You almost never use jump statements, by the way, in the real world. Jump and go to are considered harmful. Although, like, if you look at an if statement under the hood, it's effectively a jump. Because the assembler is a jump statement. Right? But to get to go to. Yeah, it's like under the hood, right? Like if you do an if, which is your control block, right? So like let's say if x equals true. Again, if I misspell something, let's just not worry about it, right? And then you've got this block, right? Then if you in the assembler, right, when this compiles, this is like a go to, right? There's a couple different versions of this GT and stuff like that, but it effectively just says, hey, if this is false, jump to here. And this here is one CPU cycle, and then this here is depending on what this is and how complex this gets, but this would be, I think this ends up being 2 cycles, CPU cycles to execute. And because it's one to do the compare, right? And then if the compare is true or false, then it's one to do the jump if necessary, right? So we're looking at a minimum possible of 2 cycles on the CPU, right? And 1 cycle if we go into the loop. So if we go to here, this is cheaper than going to here. That's just it's interesting. It's not useful, but it's interesting. I got to go. It's like 2:30 for me. Thanks for helping me. It was informative. Yeah, no worries. I'll be around again probably tomorrow. I won't really be around a lot on Wednesday though, because I get my staples pulled out. And then I'll finally be able to wash my hair, and hopefully my head won't hurt when I go outside in the cold anymore. Brain surgery for the win. How are things though, Leaf? We've been doing this thing where I've been getting increasingly distracted No, I've got Leaf here. Old dried Leaf is here. And I'm sure somebody else will pop in at some point. Actually, speaking of that, since you're going to head to bed, I'm going to go get lunch. All right, you have a good one. Night. All right, I'll be right back, everybody. I'm going to go grab lunch. Okie dokie. I'm back. Well, I'm almost back. I'm gonna go grab water. Oh. Just kicking shit. Okie dokie. I have my curry. Being delicious and shit. See if we can find a video to watch while I eat. I don't know if this is true.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and one of the giant advantages that Unreal has over Unity is Unreal uses a percentage-based cost model. That means they never have to have price increases. Doesn't work that way for the Unity game engine, and today we have one of those price adjustments. Now, this is nowhere near as bad as you may recall back in September of 2023. They decided to try and raise the price by charging a percentage based on the runtime on top of the subscription model. That did not go over well. And then pretty much a year to the date of
Cool.
of that. Back in September 12th, 2024, they had their last price increase. So that's where they went with this straightforward price increase. They also changed the amount that you got. So it was basically an 8% price increase for Unity Pro back in 2024. Now in 2025, we have another price increase, a little bit over a year from there. It's not as bad as the 8%, but we do have a subscription price change for Unity pricing. So changes to subscription plans in 2026. They will be making an adjustment to Unity pricing and packaging in line with last year's commitment to predictable annual price adjustments. Unity Pro and Enterprise will see a 5% increase starting January the 12th, 2026. Unity Pro, Enterprise, and Industry plans on 6.3 LTS will no longer include Havok physics for Unity. Later in 2026, all plans will expand free access to Unity DevOps functionality. So the key facts of this change: Unity Pro and Enterprise, if you're an existing subscriber, your price will update at your next renewal date on or after January the 12th, 2026. Final amounts will vary by region due to local taxes, currencies, and rounding, and will be shown at checkout or in your quote. For DevOps, coming in Q1 of 2026.
Wait, what? You
will update at your next renewal date on. We have another price, which is a little bit over a year from there. It's not as bad as the 8%, but we do have a subscription price change for Unity pricing. So changes to subscription plans in 2026. They will be making an adjustment to Unity pricing and packaging in line with last year's commitment to predictable annual.
Holy shit, they just decimated fucking dots. That's terrible news. Havok was like the only physics engine that you could actually get into, proper physics engine that you could get into the dot system.
full price adjustments. Unity Pro and Enterprise will see a 5% increase starting January the 12th, 2026. Unity Pro, Enterprise, and Industry plans on 6.3 LTS will no longer include Havok Physics for Unity. Later in 2026, all plans will expand free access to Unity DevOps functionality. So the key facts of this change: Unity Pro and Enterprise, if you are an existing subscriber, your price will update at your next renewal date on or after January the 12th, 2026. Final amounts will vary by region due to local taxes, currencies, and rounding, and will be shown at checkout or in your quote. For DevOps, coming in Q1 of 2026, we will be removing seat charges for Unity version control hosted in their public cloud. We're expanding the free tier of cloud pay-as-you-go features to 25 gigabytes of storage, up from 5 gigabytes, and adding 100 Mac build minutes for Unity build automation and 100 gigabytes of free egress. And then Havok Physics for Unity, starting with Unity 6.3. Havok Physics will no longer be included with Pro, Enterprise, or Industry. Havok Physics for Unity remains supported for the remainder of the Unity 2022 and Unity 6 LTS cycles. So we have those changes there. So what changes are happening in regard to the version control and the build automation? Unity will institute changes in 2026 to make the free tiers for Unity version control, which is plastic SCM they bought several years back, and Unity build automation more generous. Unity is changing these plans to allow you to build for iOS on their free tier of build automation with 100 Mac build minutes on top of the 200 build minutes they already include for free when building for Windows, plus 25 gigabytes of storage, up from 5 gigabytes, and 100 gigabytes of free egress. Additionally, there will no longer be charges on Unity version control seats for the public cloud. We expect these changes to go into effect by the end of Q1 2026. Now, if you're curious, what exactly is DevOps? Well, it was the two things I mentioned: version control, which is based off of the plastic SCM technology. Think of this as like Git, but kind of more designed specifically for game and game assets. And then on top of that, we have the Unity build automation tools, which is for doing constant builds, tests, and such builds for you. I think potentially with that Mac builds, you could make Mac builds.
How to destroy the Unity Dots ecosystem in one foul swoop.
Without actually having a Mac machine available. So there definitely could be some value there. I know a lot of people have struggled for incorporating Mac into the pipeline just because they simply don't have access to the hardware. All right, so that is the DevOps side of things. The other thing we have is the Havok Physics for Unity. So is Havok Physics for Unity still included with Unity Pro and Enterprise seats? And no, starting with Unity 6.3 LTS, if you still want to get a hold of it, Microsoft Havok team can continue. They don't actually say will continue, but can continue to offer an integration of Havok Physics for Unity as a regular third-party extension publisher. From that point onward, requests regarding availability, roadmap pricing, and support for Havok Physics for Unity should be directed to the Microsoft Havok team. So it seems like that relationship is just going away. So you're not going to get Havok Physics for Unity any further. And then not really any other real major changes there. So at the end of the day, what this mostly boils down to is this announcement right here. So you're looking, if you're a Pro or Enterprise subscriber, Pro is going to see a
Havok one is huge. Why is he skirting over Havok?
5% increase. That's it. So again, this is one of the tragic downsides of having a subscription cost as opposed to, again, a royalty-based cost. Royalties scale up with everything, so you never really have increases. 5% is 5%, remains 5%. Whereas if you're charging X amount per seat, which I think right now is $200 for a Pro license, and you need to make more money, you got to increase the seat cost. That's what this is. Let me know what you think. Again, it's pretty straightforward news. There's nothing idiotic like a runtime fee in here. It's just an annual price increase.
That's kind of terrible. I've been using Godot for a year now. I really like Godot. No, because nobody's going to develop for it. No offense to DF Clips, but this is a stupid question. Will Apple's new M5 Mac finally crack gaming? No. Because Macs are entirely capable of playing games at good frame rates. Metal is a great system. A lot of time and effort has been spent on making sure that Metal performs very well on the CPU. Or I should say the GPU, right? Of Macs. So the idea that you can't create performant games or anything like that on, which this implies that you can't create performant games on Mac, is just fundamentally a lie, right? People do it all the time, but they do it for these devices. Because this device is the one that people care about for when it comes to gaming on an Apple device. But it's the same tech. So yeah, gaming can be done. The problem is that nobody makes games for MacBooks. Because people don't buy MacBooks to play video games, they buy MacBooks to work. It's sad, but Apple has become the business laptop effectively. Like it's just a business laptop. That's all it is. You buy it if it helps you work, and you don't buy it if it doesn't help you work. I feel like this isn't right for the artist versus AI. Seems a little too high poly. Okay, where were we here? Right, we were trying to figure out our HUD situation. Right, so we've got the event play, we've got this. So if we go like this now, we should be able to bypass this, and this should still work. And it does. Oh yeah. There we go. Do, 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 do. Here's my head. Okay, so then what else do we want to do here? Right, we want to cast. I think. Does this allow for a cast? Like a direct cast? No. So we have to cast it. But we need to cast it to our own controller, which means that we have to create a controller. Which is this one. I think, yeah. Do we even have a player controller right now? I'm gonna be honest. I kind of want to call it here and take a bit of a relax. We're at almost we're at about 3.5 hours, which I think is pretty good. And I'm starting to really lose steam here. I'm gonna call it I'm gonna call it a day. I think. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna call it a day, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll be able to go a bit longer tomorrow. All right, ta-ta for now.